This is your friendly neighborhood ex-Muslim, Abdullah Samir. I had posted on Twitter, how does it hurt Muhammad when he is mocked? He is dead. He is in the grave in the window to paradise, Riyadul Jannah, and he is going to go to paradise, of course, surrounded by 72 virgins. So why is it a problem if someone says bad things about him? I mean, like, who cares, right? And of course, the response is, well, it's the followers that get upset, not Muhammad himself. So, in response, one Muslim said to me, you said Muslims shouldn't feel bad about Prophet Muhammad being insulted since he has passed away. Actually, I didn't say that you shouldn't feel bad. I said you shouldn't behead anyone. Does that make your deceased father fair game? Was Armin's mom fair game? So this fellow knows that my father passed away because I made a video about it. And he's asking, is it okay to insult your father? Because if you think it's okay to insult Muhammad and he's passed away, well, your father's dead too. Armin's mom also died of cancer, and a bunch of Hindu trolls were making sexually explicit images of her, photoshopped, right? And the question is, under free speech, is that okay? Well, first of all, it seems like people don't understand what free speech means. Free speech means that the government cannot arrest you for saying something that is legally protected under free speech. So, for example, if you insult me under free speech, as long as you're not causing any sort of lies about me, then that's considered okay, right? I'll give you an example. The Sun newspaper or tabloid wrote that Johnny Depp was a wife beater. He sued them and he lost the case for libel. Why? Because the court ruled that it was in the public record that he was a wife beater. So therefore, they can call him a wife beater and it's fine. Now, the issue is, if it wasn't true, then it would have been libel. So, a lot of the things that we are saying about Prophet Muhammad, first of all, they are true. Second of all, my dead father, if you wanted to insult him, I would tell you, it's up to you if you do that. I will not like you. I would probably hate your guts, but it's free speech. You're allowed to do that. Does that make you a good person? No, not necessarily. But free speech doesn't say anything about right or wrong. It doesn't make everything that you say automatically morally good. A lot of people misunderstand free speech. They think that free speech means that whatever you say is morally a good thing. That's not what it means. You can say things under free speech that are bad for society, bad for people, and they're still considered protected under free speech. So you're misunderstanding the whole point. It also doesn't mean that people can't be upset. Muslims can be offended. They're most welcome to be offended about someone insulting Muhammad. I have no problem with that. Under free speech, if I said something about Muhammad and a Muslim didn't like it, they can say things back to me if they wanted. That's fine. That's allowed under free speech. That you will not get arrested if you say Abdullah Samir is an idiot. Go ahead. Say it if you want. You know what I mean? If you want to mock or insult my dead father, I think he would just laugh at you. If he's up there watching, he would find the whole thing so hilarious. He would probably be upset if I got upset, but he wouldn't be upset about people making fun of him because he's dead. You know what I mean? He actually told me, when I die, celebrate my life. Don't mourn my death. So this whole thing is so silly. If you want to be upset because someone is offending you, that's okay. You're allowed to be upset. Free speech doesn't say that you can't be upset. If you want to attack Armin's mother, well, you may actually get in trouble with the law because in this case, there is no public good in what is happening. Look at what the U.S. Supreme Court had to say about the First Amendment and free speech. It's so beautiful. At the heart of the First Amendment is a recognition of the fundamental importance of the free flow of ideas and opinions on matters of public interest and concern. The freedom to speak one's mind is not only an aspect of individual liberty, and thus a good unto itself, but also is essential to the common quest for truth and the vitality of society as a whole. We have therefore been particularly vigilant to ensure that individual expressions of ideas remain free from governmentally imposed sanctions. The First Amendment recognizes no such thing as a false idea. As Justice Holmes wrote, when men have realized that time has upset many fighting faiths, they may come to believe even more than they believe the very foundation of their own conduct, that the ultimate good desired is better reached by free trade in ideas, that the best test of truth is the power of the thought to get itself accepted in the competition of the market. This is an amazing way to put it, that the marketplace of ideas and the public good is benefited from free speech, which is why when you have a public leader, Trump, Putin, right, or Muhammad, or Sikh gurus, or saints, or anyone that's a public figure that has a claim to authority that people follow, we have every right to criticize them. And you might say, well, what about criticize but don't ridicule? Well, you see, there's a fine line there that's always going to move. What you may consider fair criticism, someone else might consider unfair ridicule or mocking, right? If I believe that Muhammad was a liar, someone might say, you're offending me and you're blaspheming against my religion. If I say Muhammad had mental issues, they may consider that I'm mocking him. And in fact, at the end of the day, there's no difference between criticism, mockery, analysis. All of it falls under the same category of basically free speech. You don't have to like my particular things that I say. You do not have to engage with me. Nobody's forcing you. So if I say something offensive to you about Muhammad, you have every right to not listen to what I have to say, to block on social media, to unfollow, unsubscribe, whatever you want. And if you are saying things that I don't like, if you make cartoons of me, what am I going to do? I'm just going to ignore it. I'll give you my word. I will not behead you. That is a promise. You are most welcome to say whatever you want. Doesn't mean I will like it. Doesn't mean I will be your friend. If you say something offensive and hurtful to me about my family members, hey, that's the end of a relationship. That's the end of me engaging with you. Now, at the same time, if my father or any of my family members were public officials in government positions, let's say my dad was Trudeau, then you have every right to criticize him, to attack him, to hold him to a higher regard, because he is an official. Same thing with Muhammad. Millions of people are following him. Billions, actually, millions. When someone makes a cartoon of Muhammad with an infant in his hand, and they are attacking the fact that he married a child, a 9-year-old, right? So this is actually criticism of Muhammad's actions. Of course, there are going to be some cartoons that are not even criticizing his actions, but just there to offend and upset. And by all means, if you don't like those, that's fine. That's understandable. You don't have to like it. And I don't have to like anything you say about me or my friends or my family members. But of course, if there's an incitement to violence, if someone says you should go and kill Abdullah Samir, now that's going too far, and the government should get involved, and your free speech is no longer free speech. There's a limit. The ironic thing is, if you are saying that I deserve to die under an Islamic state, now under free speech, you're most welcome to say that. You are allowed to say that, but it doesn't mean it'll be without consequence. Now, in this case, the consequences will not be government consequences. You will not go to jail. You should not be arrested for saying that. But people will see that your religion is an awful religion. People that say ex-Muslims deserve to die are religious bigots. People that say that homosexuals deserve to die are religious bigots. And I would never say that about Muslims. I would never ever say that about any group, that these people deserve to die just for belonging to a certain group or for doing certain actions. I could never say that, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And that would make me a bigot. But I could say bigoted things. And if I say bigoted things, I would be a bigot, but I wouldn't go to jail, right? In certain countries, if you criticize the government or even the prophet, you can go to jail. It's not like that here. We love our freedom of expression and religion, and we will fight to protect it. And that includes the right for people that follow religion, who have bigoted ideas, to say what they want to say. And your speech is protected under the law. And I believe in that. I believe you have every right to say that I deserve to die under an ideal Islamic state, because I want people to hear that. I want people to know that this is what Islam teaches according to your interpretation of Islam. I want you to say it, not me to say it. I want you to tell people what you think should happen to me under an ideal Islamic state. I don't need to tell them then Islam is a terrible, misogynistic, barbaric, nasty, evil religion. I don't need to say that. You're doing all my work for me. If you want to insult my father, you're doing all my work for me. If you want to copy Muhammad hijab and attack me personally, making personal attacks ad hominems, if you want to attack Armin's wife, Armin's mom, you guys are doing a job for us by showing people how nasty, petty, and pathetic you can be. Instead of responding to arguments, you'd make personal attacks. And of course, there's a line to be crossed, because when we criticize Muhammad as a public figure, that's different from criticizing someone in their private lives, right? The U.S. court has held that the First Amendment does not protect incitement, threats, obscenity, child pornography, defamation of private figures, criminal conspiracies, criminal solicitation. So it's interesting that the U.S. court mentioned the First Amendment does not protect defamation of private figures. So there's a distinction, you see, between a private figure and a public figure. That's even there in the law. If you are attacking someone's mom just to hurt them, you may not be protected under free speech, because there's no public good that comes out of that. There's no public benefit out of making pornographic pictures of someone's dead mother or even alive mother. In fact, if it was alive, you can go to jail for that, right? There's no public benefit. It's just lowers the, you don't have to like what people say about your mother, father, the prophet, the Pope, Trudeau, Putin, whoever, Erdogan. You're most welcome to say whatever you want about these people. But if you cross the line and you get into bigotry, people will see you for what you are. And you will be doing a job for us. But you're most welcome to do it. But at the same time, you cannot say, haha, free speech, you have to like what I'm saying. No, I don't have to like what you're saying. I don't have to like you. I don't have to. If, for example, I could go on my YouTube channel right now and I can attack my employer. I can say to my boss, you are an asshole, for example. What would happen to me? I would not go to jail because of free speech. However, I could lose my job. YouTube can kick me off the platform if they wanted. This is nothing to do with free speech. A lot of people get confused. They think that just because you say something, it means that it's okay because we believe in free speech. If I believe in free speech, it doesn't mean that everything you say is morally acceptable, right? There are cases even of like the KKK saying certain things in public that were allowed to be said because it's under the free speech regulations, as long as what they're saying was not going to be used to, and acted upon to kill people or anything like that. In that case, you can go to jail for saying it, right? But if it's just like, I believe that whites are the best people or whatever, and you're a white supremacist, under free speech, you're allowed to say that, right? Of course, there's a line we have to be careful of. And I've always made sure that my videos and my articles are not used to demonize Muslims unfairly. I always say we need to ask people, as a Muslim, do you believe this and that? Not just assume that just because someone's Muslim, they believe that, the Charlie Hebdo massacre should have happened. Of course not. We ask people. You let them answer for themselves. You don't hold them guilty based on the group that they're in. That's bigotry, right? So I think I made the point. I think I made it very clear. Free speech does not mean good speech necessarily. There's a difference between free speech. There's a difference between criticizing public figures and criticizing private individuals. If you criticize private individuals and you lie, then that could be libel, and you can actually be sued for that, right? And you can be charged for harming someone's reputation. If it's not in the public good, what you're doing, if you're attacking someone just for the sake of revenge, attack my dad, that's not in the public good either. And I don't know what the court would rule if it came to a situation like that, where you're attacking someone's mother or father simply just to get back at them. But we live in a country, I live in a country, many of us live in countries with free speech, and that is one of the most valuable things in this world, that we have the right to speak up. We have the fair ability to criticize our leaders, to criticize the laws, to protest, to criticize religion, criticize atheism even if you want. We have that right to have this, and that's what keeps society moving forward. To make things blasphemy law, that holds society back. To make the government or the political leaders or the religious leaders sacred and uncriticizable, I don't think that's a word, uncriticizable. That holds society back, because the truth will always win, right? The best ideas will always come out on top. And free speech is the only thing that holds society in check, because if you don't have free speech, then who gets to decide, right? Who gets to decide what's blasphemy and what's considered okay to say? And that's when, it goes out of control. So in order to keep society going straight, we have to have free speech laws. We have to allow people to say what they say. And usually what that means is you need to protect this free speech of douchebags, right? His free speech or her free speech needs to be protected as well. Free speech isn't just allowing people to say nice things. It's allowing people to say things that you wouldn't like yourself. That's what it means. It means for the greater good that we allow all of these things that, and I really do truly believe this. I think that now, we have a problem with people being too woke and preventing the fair expression of ideas at universities. Sometimes even, certain speakers are threatened and not allowed to come because of, certain ideas they may hold. And I think this is terrible. It's going to take society down a dark path. So we have to be aware of that. The woke is also a danger to free speech. In this case, what we have is a religious right that's a danger to free speech. So we have to be vigilant against all of these people that are trying to encroach on our free speech and to take it away from us. Free speech is one of the best things we have, and we have to fight for it. We have to stand up for it. And so that's all I have to say to this individual who was basically calling me a hypocrite and saying, oh, why can't I attack your father? What's the big deal? You can attack him if you want. I won't stop you, but you'll be a douchebag. And under free speech, you'll probably be protected as a douchebag. Well, folks, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. If you're new, please do subscribe, like the video to help me out, leave a comment, and if you can afford to support me, join my Patreon. I really do care about what I'm doing here, and I'd love to make it grow. With your help, I can do a lot more. So if you can afford it, check out my support page and see how you can help me with a small monthly donation. This is your friendly neighborhood ex-Muslim Abdullah Samir signing out. By the way, guiding one person away from Islam is better than 10 red camels. You can quote me on that hadith.